I'm going to kind of move to the meeting part of things. My name's Kristin Zika, and in July I stepped into the role as the grants chair on the Impact Central Illinois board. And so I'm going to give you a bit of a grants update because we are rolling up our sleeves and we are moving forward. And it is a very exciting time right now. We have officially kicked off the third grant cycle for Impact Central Illinois. And in January, after reviewing our membership numbers, 235 women, as well as a generous matching gift by the Gilmore Foundation, the board decided that in June of this year, we will be awarding 4 grants. Those 4 grants will go to 4 different not-for-profits in our community, and we will be awarding 2 impact grants in the amount of $110,000 each. And then we will also, for the very first time, be awarding 2 Inspire grants. These grants are specifically for smaller not-for-profits in our community. And these grants are in the amount of $20,000 each. And I think that deserves a round of applause, especially for our members. So to support our path and journey to June of this year, we have now completed 2 phases of our 5-phase funnel process, our grant review process. We have completed the initial financial integrity phase and also the letter of inquiry, or the LOI phase. We had a total of 37 submissions, this was a record number, from not-for-profits in our community. We worked very hard on outreach this fall by specifically actually reaching out to the leaders of not-for-profits, inviting them to an information session, and we also held 2 separate Q&A sessions to try and get as many people involved and aware of our grant opportunities as possible. And so we're really thankful for the kind of response that we have had. From those initial 37 submissions, at this point 19 not-for-profits remain in our process and have been invited to the 3rd phase of our grant process, which is the full grant application. So this is possible because of some pretty incredible people that are here in this room, and pretty amazing dedication by 2 committees which are very close to my heart, the Financial Review Committees and the Grant Review Committees. The Financial Review Committee, or the FRC, they shared their time and their financial talents literally during the busiest time of the year, during December. And they reviewed the financials of every single one of those 37 not-for-profits. This was done under the leadership of both Wendy Ramsey and Vivian Standiford and their team of 12 FRC members. If you were involved in the FRC, could you please stand so we can just thank you and applaud your efforts? Because that's amazing. Thank you very much, ladies. Thank you. It's also important to note that the women who sit on the FRCs, they also sit on the grant review committees, and so they serve as a financial insight for the organizations being reviewed, and it's a big commitment, and for that we are very, very thankful. Following the FRC's review of those 37 submissions, 33 organizations were moved to the LOI review, and the GRCs met for the first time all on the same night at the Peoria Next Innovation Center located at Bradley University. We were able to meet concurrently online as well as in 4 different conference rooms around the building. It was a really inspiring evening to see that much wisdom and experience, and most of all, that much heart in one place at the same time. And we all had the same mission, and it was incredible. This year, 70 women have chosen to be involved in a grant review committee, and we are thankful for that. These committees are facilitated by 4 extremely, I really mean it, extremely talented chairs, with Yvonne Greer heading our Health and Wellness Committee, Paula Hinton, yes, absolutely, Paula Hinton heading our Education Committee. Stacy Del Vecchio heading our Family Committee. And Dawn Sink heading our brand new Inspire Grant Committee. So if I could ask these women, as well as everyone who is serving on our GRC right now, could you please stand so we can thank you for your efforts, because we are off to a great start. It's amazing. Thank you, ladies. Amazing. So following the LOI review meetings, we asked 19 not-for-profits to continue forward to our full grant application phase. And at this point in time, we have shared with them the financial documents that they need to pull together, as well as an online link for the application itself. We will also be hosting a Q&A for these organizations on February 1st, also at the Bradley University, or the Peoria Next Innovation Center at Bradley University. That will be on February 1st, and the deadline for that grant application is on February 18th. Our next grant review committee meetings will be happening in March, followed by one of the most amazing steps of our process, which is the site visits, where our committees actually go out and they meet the people who are on the front lines, who are doing the work in our community, and we are able to meet them. Those will happen in April, and we will have our finalists ready to present to you all in June. So we are moving forward, and we are excited to see the new ideas and projects being presented to us by the not-for-profits in our community. We are very confident that in June, you will each get to meet some very qualified finalists. You will hear about their projects, and you will vote on where $260,000 will be invested in making an impact on our community. One of our great strengths as an organization, and I would be remiss not to mention this, one of our great strengths lies with Jada Hare. Jada serves as our not-for-profit liaison, and she is our single point of communication during the entire grant process. She manages every single phase and all of that communication, and she manages it with great tact and professionalism, as well as a sincere love for the not-for-profits in our community. And so I would also like to thank her for her efforts. So as I wrap up, I want to share a personal story with you. So my father-in-law was reading this book. It is the new Peoria Reads 2022 book called This Is Where You Belong by Melody Warnick. And if your father-in-law mentions a book and tells you that he reads it, then you go to Amazon and you buy it and you read it as well. But he actually, the reason I bring it up is he called me the other day. And he said, "Hey, Kristin, I just want to thank you for your involvement in Impact Central Illinois. I read a chapter in this book, and it really made me think about what you all are doing with Impact Central Illinois. And I want you to know how much I appreciate that." And it kind of struck me, like, what is he talking about? But then I went and I read it, and the book talks about how volunteering in your community actually makes you love your community. It helps you feel as if you belong. And so I went on to reflect on this statement, and I think he's right. The word belong. We belong here. We belong in Peoria. I look around this room and I see faces of some women. Oh my goodness. I'm so thankful that I have met them. I have so much respect for them. And I feel like I belong, as if we're on a mission together. I read the local news, and I hear about the not-for-profit organizations, which I now know about. And I feel like I belong here. And I reflect on the good that our first 2 years awards, in the amount of $335,000, what good that has already made in our community, and I feel like I belong. And I look forward to awarding $260,000 more to my community, and I'm excited to belong. So the book actually goes on to say, money changes your town, giving money changes you. When you invest, you feel invested. So it is my sincere desire that each of you feel invested in our community, because you do belong. You belong here in our group in Impact Central Illinois, and you belong as a philanthropist in our community. A University of Nebraska study highlighted also in this book found that members involved in a giving circle or a collective giving organization such as ours are actually found to be highly engaged members of their communities, regardless of how long they had lived there and regardless of whether or not they owned a home. When I paused to reflect on how much Impact Central Illinois has accomplished in its first 3 years, even given the impact of a global pandemic during the startup years of this organization, it humbles me, sincerely. And I am thankful to be a part of this. And while we are very proud of our short history, built by an incredible board, and incredible founding members, and incredible second-year members, we are also very excited for our future. And we have heard from you. It's actually very interesting, the messages that we've received tonight, because it aligns with what we have heard from you. We have heard from you that, like this study mentioned in the book highlights, you want to be engaged in our community, and you want to learn about the issues, and you want to learn about what's being done to address those issues, and you want to learn how to be an effective philanthropist. We have heard that feedback, and so I'm excited to introduce Judy Huff, our community partner liaison. She also sits on the Impact Central Illinois board, and she is going to share more about some ideas that we have to build upon our incredible foundation and help each of us grow and belong even more. So thank you.
Let me first acknowledge Kristin for her dedication to improving the grant process. Kristin is a gracious leader and tries to always acknowledge the FRC and the GRC members who are truly donating their time and talents to the process. But Kristin this year has developed the five-phase funnel and created a timeline for impact and inspire grants that align. If you're familiar with the process, you know how huge this is, and we appreciate your time in doing all of this. I've highlighted the improvements in the grant process, not only to acknowledge our members' dedication, but to emphasize that the board is listening to all of you, as Kristin said. We want to make the grant review process a learning process, because in order to be a good philanthropist, you have to know what the needs are. And how do you get to know what the needs are if you're not learning about our community? As a community partner liaison, I have the privilege tonight to update you on our grant award winners, our community partners. Both of our awarded grants this year relate to construction. So as you may realize, with the current pandemic and supply chain issues, they've had a few challenges, but that hasn't stopped them from moving forward. Our awards this year went to the Center for Prevention of Abuse for their accessibility renovations, and the other grant went to St. Paul Episcopal Church and Urban Acres for their spring house kitchen. The Center for Prevention of Abuse has contracted with Temper Construction, which is a female-owned business in Canton. They have begun renovations on the kitchen and bathrooms, and subcontractors have already reviewed the project, ordered materials, and construction is slated to begin in April of this year. Recently, a few of us visited the center, and we learned that due to COVID, they've actually had to shut down their kitchen. They have to contract out all of their meals. Can you imagine the added expense that was not anticipated? So some of you have asked for ways to help. The center isn't a place, especially during COVID, that they're allowing a lot of visitors. But if you have the opportunity to give gift cards or call them asking how you can help with this issue, they said this is one of their biggest concerns right now. In the near future, aka post-pandemic, we hope to schedule a tour of the center where they will be able to tell you all about their programs and what they're doing to make a difference in our community. We also are planning a spring cleanup this summer to help in their patio area, so you can be looking forward to those opportunities mentioned in our newsletter and on social media. The Springboard Kitchen is a project to construct a commercial kitchen for individuals to create and sell their own products. They have already completed the necessary electrical work, been approved by the health department, which was not an easy obstacle to overcome with all of the dynamics of they're going to be working with so many different individuals creating different things that they can't even imagine what they might be right now. But the health department worked with them to be able to be approved so they could continue on. They also are now starting to fireproof the areas around the kitchen and are continuing to work to meet their deadline of being up and running. So what's the best way to help the Springboard Kitchen? This summer, they will have a market at Urban Acres, a farmer's market, where a lot of these local business owners are going to be selling their goods. So we're planning to do what Kristin refers to as a cash mob. So it's not a flash mob, but it's about getting a bunch of us together and going to the farmer's market and helping them, because the best way is to buy their products. Tell them we support you. We believe in what you're doing, and we want to help support you. Impact Central Illinois has been blessed with wonderful membership and community support from other donors who believe in our mission. And our mission, if I may read it for just a second here, is for Impact Central Illinois. We cultivate the collective wisdom and strength of women to transform ourselves and our communities through philanthropy. Keeping that vision in mind, a donor has honored Impact with a $7,000 donation to go towards educating our members. And how we will do that is through events where you can learn more about being a good philanthropist and learning more about the social needs in our area. So we've listened to you because you want more volunteer opportunities, you want more educational opportunities. So we're still working on the details, but one of the first things that we want to do is hold a poverty simulation this spring. For those of you that are not aware of a poverty simulation, it's a way for individuals to understand the needs of somebody trying to survive in poverty today. And at the end of that event, we are going to have local agencies talk about what programs they have that impact those living in poverty and what they're doing to help them. So once again, you'll learn more about our community. The board is excited to bring these new educational opportunities to our members, but we don't want to make all the decisions. We need your help. So if you could please, if you have any interest or great ideas and want to be a part of how we educate our members, please see me after the meeting, or Mega, where'd you go? Or Mega's helping us as well if you want to talk to her about some ideas. So as we leave tonight, I'd like to leave you with a final thought. What if we'd stayed home tonight? What if you hadn't come tonight to hear these speakers? Because I know last night when I was curled up on the couch reading a good book, right, wasn't really thinking about coming out here tonight. But the book I was reading is called 1 Billion Hours of Good by Chris Field. And he talks about the very first step in creating change in your community is to just show up. If I hadn't shown up tonight, I wouldn't have learned that to go far, you go together, and that we're investing in people, and that it's bigger than you think. And I'm sure all of you have takeaways from tonight as well. So we thank you for showing up, and we look forward to you attending future educational opportunities and being at our celebration at Lofty on June 7th. So thank you, good night, stay warm, and stay healthy.